Well, hello, and welcome to Sports My Compion Combat Sports Edition. That's right, we're back with more news about people punching each other in the face and the shenanigans they get up to off the field or out of the ring as well. And for that, we bring on our fight expert, the man with the beard, the man with the coolest backgrounds, Christopher UFC Compion. How you doing, buddy?
Hello, my friends. Happy to see you, or you happy to have you see me. One or the other.
We're back with more combat sport information, Christopher.
That's
UFC
right. That's right.
Fight Night took place on Saturday, and we got stuff to say about it.
Yeah, it was in Baku in Azerbaijan, which I'm
glad that you just nailed all those pronunciations there, and it didn't sound bad at all. You nailed that.
Little Middle Eastern country.
Okay.
It was kind of funny they chose to do that there with all the weirdness going on in the Middle East. Like our boys Bisping and Paul Felder were like kind of running to get the hell out of there before shit got too weird.
They weren't just hanging out, maybe taking an extra week to kind of explore the country a little bit after UFC. Why? Why are they in such a hurry to leave the East?
Pretty cool. It's apparently a really nice, chill country.
Oh, good.
It's one of the richer Middle Eastern ones, so they get to live a little better.
Good for them. Good for them. Well, tell us about the fighting that happened.
Let's talk about the fighting.
So we had the main card.
Event, we got Khalil Roundtree versus Jamahal Hill. Both of them lost to Alex Pereira. Khalil Roundtree obviously did much better against Pereira. He went the distance, where Jamahal got stopped in the first round. Remember that controversial thing with the was it a nut kick, and then Herb Dean almost stopped it, and Alex is like, nah, it's fine, and then he just steps on his foot and knocks him out.
Jesus.
Yeah, anyway. So that wasn't even Jamahal Hill's last loss. He went and lost to Yuri Prohaska after that.
Okay.
And then, now he's over here losing to Khalil Roundtree. So he's on a bit of a skid for a former champion. He's definitely on his way down. And, apparently he's got, really great power or something. But, he kind of just spends too much of the fight waiting for that perfect moment to land the one big shot, And Khalil Roundtree, he had, you see his shorts, they're like some custom tie stuff. Like that's all kind of like Thai tattoo writing all over the white part of the shorts.
Yeah.
So, they're doing the custom shorts for fighters now, which is cool. You might as well. Cool. You took away Condom Depot and, Ammo Dump. You got to give us something else.
Right, yeah. Hugging, bring it back, dude.
I miss seeing dude wipes on the back of dude shorts,
For sure.
Anyway. So, moving on from the attire, Khalil had a great performance. Obviously, all the work he's been doing is paying off. He does a lot of camps out there in Thailand. He really loves it. And,
that's really cool.
He's having himself a great little career in the UFC. He's starting to get to real big fights. He's been around a while. He just got into the top 5 with this fight.
Cool. So he might be getting his title shot here soon.
Yeah, you'd think if he challenged for the title, he would have been in the top 5. But the funny part is he wasn't. They just threw him in there because they were like, no one else is ready to fight Alex right now, and we know this will be a good stand-up fight, and that's exactly what he gave us.
Oh, what a good lad.
Yeah, he's a good egg. So anyway, Jamahal Hill, I don't know, man. He needs to figure his stuff out, but Khalil's doing just fine.
Good for him.
Yep.
So yeah, Mr. Hill on the way down. We'll see if he can figure it out. It did take Khalil all 5 rounds. Didn't finish him, but still was the aggressor with more strikes. It appears,
right.
and significant strikes.
I think he was playing it safe because he's coming off a loss, and a lot of times, coming off a loss, guys just want to get back in the win column, even if it's a decision.
Makes sense.
And especially it being a main event, he wanted to make sure he got that W, even if it went the distance.
Yeah, especially if Jamahal has some nasty punch that could just put you away. I'm sure once you start to tight and lighten them up.
Yeah, and Khalil won every round, so it was like
he was doing enough to win.
Really, no need to get crazy with it and give him a chance to get back in the fight when you're just dominating.
Right. So that was the main round. Did you see this one a little bit?
So Rafael Fiziev, I didn't even know he was from Azerbaijan. I thought he was Brazilian, but it makes a little more sense.
So they're like get our own guy in there for sure.
The 155ers are usually entertaining. These guys got good cardio, and it was mostly a stand-up fight. But Fiziev was in control. He's definitely a high-level fighter. He's fought a lot of top dudes. So,
how about this guy Ignacio? Is he kind of a newer dude from Chile?
Bahamundes, actually. He's talented. He's all right. He should have a good future. He's getting together some experience. He'll be pretty good one of these days. He's he's got a good frame for it, and
he looks like he has a good frame.
It's got to be cool to he's from Cuba, and he's like traveling around the world
Chile.
all the way to Azerbaijan and fighting, and
he's having a good
it's not the worst loss in the world. It's not like he got completely smoked and dominated and stuff.
No, it went all
be
around.
Right. He'll be back.
Good for him.
Yep.
Well, moving on from those boys.
Yep.
You want to talk about
And then we got some big lads here. We got Curtis Blades taking on a very large Russian. And not the most exciting fight. Like, they a lot of times
the old split decision.
If it doesn't happen soon, then it kind of gets a little stagnant. But it was fine. Curtis Blades needed a win. He got it. The
Russian guys got the full Eastern up and down beard.
Yep, exactly.
Oh, we got some.
And then this one, we got our Mongolian friend. His name is Orolbai, something like that. But the Mongolian gentleman, dude, so this other guy, Mustaev, he's from Azerbaijan. So usually they try to hook up the local boy, they throw him a feeder fish or someone they think he can beat.
Dude, look at this guy's fucking abs, dude. He is shredded.
Here. This guy is he's 14-2. The Mongolian gentleman. He's won his last 9 out of 10. This one dude, Robecki, was able to drag him to a split decision. Beat him on a split decision, which is interesting. But
anyway, he just got this poor kid an absolute lion.
Did whatever he wanted to him, submitted him. Very, very interesting fella. He seems quite dangerous. A lot of times.
But isn't that crazy that the UFC threw that at the local boy whenever he's at home? You'd think they'd give him a nice feeder fish instead they just throw a lion in there with him. He's exactly. There's a lion in here!
You know what's funny about this is the next fight. This guy Sadikov, he got the feeder fish. He's an Azerbaijani guy. He got the nice beatable dude. No, I think scroll down one. Yeah, there you go. Sadikov versus Mata. Yeah. He got the dude we're pretty sure you can handle. So I wonder if it's something like,
They couldn't have him do
these guys
too
got
well.
the same agent, and it's like, look, dude, I'll throw you one and I'll take one from you because we can't make it look too easy for you.
Yeah. Like that maybe could be. So you're saying this Mata kid was severely outmatched?
Yeah, I mean, he's a scrapper. He's game and all, but this other fella, Sadikov, like, he was pretty good. He's been winning in the UFC, and he got himself a second round TKO tonight. But it was a good fight. These guys actually got double bonuses because there was so many decisions tonight. And Dana is so funny. He hates decisions.
He does
So,
hate decisions.
anytime a couple dudes like really go for it, he's like, well, I'm going to hook you lads up. So,
Smart
he
to
gave
continue to
these
incentivize
double
it.
bonus, fight of the night and knockout of the night. He gave them each 100K.
Nice. At least Mata
Yep.
got paid 100K for that CTE. Let's go, baby.
Yep. At least he's well compensated for it.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go. So that was a good fight. That was probably the second best one of the night. The best one being Khalil and Hill, which is appropriate for a headliner. But yeah, that was a good one.
Nice.
Yep.
You ended up watching this last one or not really?
Muhammad. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, the Young Park, that poor fella. Yeah, there you go. A few down.
Oh yeah, this guy.
That dude. His opponent, who is he? Some
He's
Russian
big.
or whatever name. Dude, he was dirty as hell. He must have poked him in the
Morocco?
eye like 3 or 4 times. He kicked him in the balls. It was crazy, dude. Like at the end when Zhang Park is getting his hand raised, he can't even open one eye. Like it was really fucked up.
Jeez.
So anyway,
Way to hang in the pocket though and still win. It was a good thing he at least was able to survive and still win.
Yeah.
Girl, fuck you to the Moroccan.
Yeah, and then there was like two girl fights in a row, which was interesting. I was pretty surprised by that. Usually they kind of sprinkle them around in there because there's not that many of them, but they're like, here we go, doubling up on the girls, baby.
Yeah, I wonder if that's something to do with where they did it.
Either one was an especially impressive fight. Like, I'm pretty sure these girls are on the lower end of the division. They're just kind of like filler. For it is a fight night, and
I wonder if that's part of the market they were in for this particular event, and also
exactly.
they kind of just
like
put these people
put
them in the prelims.
Like over on that side of the world, it's easy to get Russians to show up.
Yeah. So they probably just put them in the prelims that way. No women fights on the main card. How dare they?
Who can we just give them a cheap plane ticket to show up, or maybe a bus ticket?
Bro, look at this guy's face. My boy Tiger, that's a crazy looking face.
Yeah, I know, wild face, right? Yeah, I missed that fight. I don't know. I showed up when the girls were fighting.
That's fine. It looks like he just freaked out our Kyrgyzstan friend so much that he won. But anyway, so that's the UFC Fight Night. It happened, Chris. Our boy Khalil
Roundtree is doing great. He's doing fine.
And Hill is not doing great. Hill on his way down.
Jamahal Hill is in trouble, dude.
He's going
He needs
down
to figure
the hill.
Something out.
Yeah, he needs to figure his life out. In other news, Christopher, our boy Jon Jones.
Bad boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they?
Wasn't the greatest era ever with these couple guys we're gonna get into in this episode? We're running the UFC. Jon Jones, Conor McGregor. Shit. That might have been the best era of the UFC. Oh, and the Diaz brothers were around more talking their shit.
Of course, but that's all they really do is talk shit. They don't.
Chael's Tunnen.
Let's start with Conor because it's really not all that interesting. It's just typical Conor Tuesday night shit. He like
Right,
punched
Tuesday
some
night.
guy a couple times in a club in Ibiza, and it's
Right,
almost
because
like yawn. Of course he did. He's Conor McGregor. He
frankly,
punches
whenever you
people
first
in
told me
clubs
that,
and bars. Why wouldn't he? He punches people on basketball courts.
well, I think like at this point,
He punches people on yachts. He punches people anywhere he feels like.
dude, I think at this point, people probably know that they can get under his skin easily, especially when he's drinking. So it's like, yeah, let me get punched in the face a couple times and make like $1 million.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong. I just wonder, like, what does D. Devlin say to Connor when he's like headed out for a night out? Does she say like, "Don't punch anyone, honey. Like, try not to sexually assault anyone"? Like, what do you
know
say
she doesn't
with
say anything. She doesn't say anything. She just
doesn't
works.
say shit.
She just
Exactly.
she
That's why
she
she's
has to just
still
deal
his
with the
wife.
children.
She doesn't say shit. She's like, "Oh, goodbye, honey," and then like
Yeah,
the
does she
kids
probably
over in the room to watch
She's
like
probably
Blue's
not
Clues.
wild about him anymore. You know, she's probably just like, whatever, dude. This dude pays the bills and is the father of my children. But I would be surprised.
Dude, that's the thing is also they got like a few kids now, so
That's what I'm
it's,
saying.
it's not like she's interested in going anywhere.
Right. I mean,
But
she could divorce him and get a bunch of his money, but who knows? I don't want to speculate on what Mrs. McGregor thinks of Connor.
Yeah.
I can't imagine
I'm
she's
sure
super fond of him after
drying
all this stuff.
drying her tears with $100 bills.
Exactly.
Anyway, so yep, Connor's punching people in Ibiza. On to Jon Jones. So let's start at the beginning. He just recently retired. You know, It was all messy because he had a belt, and then that he beat like Cyril Gahn for, I think, which I think when Ngannou left, he vacated the belt, and so that we'll get to Jones ducking in a minute. Anyway, so he roughed up Cyril Gahn, who's really just an overfed kickboxer. And then Stipe is like old as the hills, dude. You beat up like what? I think Stipe was over 40. It's like great. He roughed up a fireman and a kickboxer. And then Tom Aspinall got himself a belt, and he was like, "Let's go, dude. Let's unite the belts and whatnot." And, Jones was all like, "Yeah, no, for this bullshit and that bullshit." And he dicked around like he always does, super annoying. And finally, this week,
so was that just on him, or did the UFC, you think, have a lot to do with that too, by not like paying the right prices
listen,
for that fight?
if you want to fight, if you're actually interested in going out there and fighting, they will set it up. They'll make it happen. I think so. One way of quitting guys can do in the UFC when they don't want to fight someone is they'll be like, "Yeah, I'll fight him, but I'll fight him for like 15 million, like some crazy number they know they're never going to get."
Okay.
So then, that's like pricing yourself out of the fight is, I think, what it's called. But anyway.
So he didn't want any of that.
So all his dodging and all his he actually agreed to fight Tom Aspinall. Like, it was supposed to happen like the week before. And then a week later, he's like, "Nah, never mind. I'm retiring instead." And, it's so typical of Jones. The eye lover, the, kick you in the side of your knee, the hiding under, cages from the testers. Like, he tested positive for steroids after one of the DC fights. Like, he's been sketchy his whole career. He's been arrested like 6 times. But anyway, so speaking of getting arrested, so Albuquerque, New Mexico, cops are called to the scene of an accident near Jon Jones's house. Hang on. They encounter a crashed car with a woman in the passenger seat who is obviously intoxicated, and she's Winnie the Poohing it, which means she's got the top, no bottoms. So we've
Yeah,
got
good
a
times.
fucked up chick, Winnie the Pooh in it, in a crashed car passenger seat, right? Take this in.
And then she tells the cops when they like inquire about such things.
She tells the cops that she was hanging out with Jon Jones in his house. They were doing mushrooms, and then she doesn't remember getting in the car. Next thing she knows, she's in this crashed car with no pants, and there's no one in the driver's seat.
So some reports are saying that she claims that she had a bathroom incident, in which time it was time to change her attire, which is why Jones apparently drove her to this other place, because that's who she alleges was driving the car, was Mr. Jon Jones himself, Christopher.
So I've been wrong this whole time. He was doing a good deed. He was
look. All right, look. This is what I think happened. Allegedly, as his lawyer says, this is all just madness. I can't even believe that they would accuse him and put all these resources into something that he wasn't even there.
Misunderstanding.
And there's apparently a gentleman.
Anyway. Even the crash, I bet, was her fault. I bet she was annoying him
100%.
and grabbing the wheel and turning it into the tree.
Yeah, or even worse, not entertaining him enough, so he just got bored and had to crash. But what I think, so you're there, you bring over the lady, you have some drinks, have some mushrooms. It's a good time. She reacts wrong to the mushrooms, probably shat herself. He's like, I got to get this girl out of here. And he probably sent her away on an Uber. But then next thing you know, he was driving the Uber himself. And and it wasn't an Uber at all. It was just his car. And he was taking her back to her place. And he was like, fuck, it's right. I'm drunk. I shouldn't be driving.
Because he got confused and thought he was an Uber driver.
That's what it was.
It was an innocent mistake.
And then, like, when he
could have happened to any of us. How many times have I gotten into my car and gotten confused and thought I was an Uber driver?
Exactly. And this is all alleged anyway, because really, I think he just played some PlayStation and sent her home on the Uber, went to bed. But anyway, once, this whole accident thing happens, like, he's to try to explain to her, like, oh, yeah, it's true. I'm not an Uber driver. And I think they got into an accident, at which point he had to go. And then, like, she called him later, like a weirdo. And he's like, I don't want to talk to you. Like, what are you doing trying to snitch on me right now? And then worst of all, she hands him over to the cops to talk to them. So, like, of course, he's a little defensive. And has
to tell the cop about these friends he has. Because he doesn't like to brag about their friends.
Right. Everyone loves to brag about their friends.
Your friends are so cool, they'll kill someone for you.
Right.
I'm telling people that, too.
That's a super cool friend. That you're
trying to bond with. So don't arouse my anger.
Dude, he's probably just trying to bond with the cop. Like, he's on mushrooms. He's like, what up, dude? Hey, by the way, I know people who get killed.
I heard sometimes cops will kill for each other. So maybe he just thought it would be like a bonding moment.
Yeah.
With the cop. Like, yo, you know how your crew does that shit for you? I got guys that do that for me, too.
Right. And I think also, like the other alleged things of him saying, the government, like, listens to phone calls. That's just good friendly advice. That's just looking out for the boys. That's like, hey, by the way, this is a really sketch conversation, so we should be careful because the government's probably watching. Like, that's just smart. Yeah.
So
allegedly
about this all wrong. It was obviously just a big misunderstanding.
A whole big misunderstanding. Chris, I think all of it's alleged. He never identified himself on the phone call. He didn't.
Really, it's this conniving woman who's probably looking to set him up.
For all we know, Chris, she never went and did mushrooms or drank booze at all at John's house, and instead just got into an accident, thought quickly, and hopped into the passenger seat.
You know who I'll call right now while I'm winning the pooing it?
Yeah. Well, then she just she shat herself in the accident, I guess, but then hopped over to the passenger seat so it looked like somebody else was driving, and then she called her friend and was like, "Hey, act like Jon Jones and threaten everybody. We'll pin this whole thing on John." John probably never even involved, like his lawyer says. He probably was at home the whole time.
It's probably all just a setup. Because,
it's all just a setup. A guy like Jones would never be involved in these kinds of
situations like this before, where there's been, mistakes.
He's always had a really clean nose, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, the science is just
he's an athlete,
clean as a
dude.
whistle.
Like he would never put it like alcohol and mushrooms into his body. No, he treats that shit like a temple.
A temple, really. Everyone knows Jon Jones's body is a temple.
Absolutely, and that's how he treats it. And so all of this is just real madness, I think.
It's slander, actually.
They're trying to slander the former champion's name.
Slander him. You know why? Just because he's in the news recently with the retirement.
Retiring.
Like, oh,
shit, they're like, oh, that's right.
Let's get him.
Let's try to get some money from him.
It's disgraceful.
It is, especially since he's a future Hall of Famer. The UFC needs to come out and defend him, honestly.
They're trying to tarnish his legacy, is what it is.
Right. That's what I think it is. I think that this girl is probably some hater of his, or a DC fan, and she's like mad.
Yeah, she's probably a DC fan.
Probably a big
for plump guys, I bet.
Real big Daniel Cormier got
like a chubby chaser.
Definitely. And so then, and these cops, wasting the amount of resources they have on some wild goose chase.
Accident. Like, you could let that go. Maybe it'll be okay.
I didn't even really mean that. I meant like, whoever happens to be on this phone call was the one driving. Like, what? Why aren't we asking more questions to the person who is there?
Stretch.
It's a stretch.
Until proven guilty.
What happened to that? Why are we going to be calling up?
Because it's his car and it's wrapped around a tree. Maybe he lent it to someone.
Right. Well, wait, I didn't know that. I didn't know that we for sure knew it was his car, but that does make sense.
Well, of course it was his car.
Of course it was. Right. So then maybe there was another person driving who looked like Jon in Jon's car.
Stole his car for this whole setup, bro.
Yeah, remember they said the government's always listening.
Set up Jon Jones, you steal his car.
The government's always listening, so they probably were listening ahead on this one and figured out a way to entrap their boy Jon because they're mad at him because he's too much of a rebel.
Really, bro? This is like an easy gig for Mossad. They could pull this off, on like a weekend half asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could handle this easily. So
this
that's
whole
probably
thing's disgraceful.
They probably just did that.
This whole thing's disgraceful.
Right. It's disgraceful. How dare they tarnish our boy's good name?
A guy who's always kept his name out of the headlines, but nothing but a model citizen. A real inspiration to the kids, and this is what they try to do with his name days after retirement. I can't even believe this.
It's unseemly.
And now all the Jones brothers have retired. Is this really how we wanted them to go out? The Jones legacy? One of them literally known as a crazy person at the end of his NFL career, just saying wild, outlandish shit.
The
Jon Jones,
person of the NFL?
Dude, literally, he lost his mind like the last couple of games of his Raiders career. Like, he was still playing at a high level, but literally just went off the rails mentally and was like saying wild shit. I forget what happened with him. If he was saying like alien shit or if he was just talking shit to his coach. I forget, but he went off the rails and the Raiders had to be like, all right, dude, go take a leave of absence, and then he just never came back.
So I heard Papa Jones was a preacher.
Oh,
I'm telling you, preacher kids turn out fucking weird.
Dating one now.
Kids are cursed with some shit.
Dude, it's all coming together now. So really, Jon Jones, not only is this all probably incorrect and just tarnishing his name, but he's also a victim.
He's a multi-layer victim.
Poor guy, dude.
And, like, when he was fighting, guys would rudely try to assault his fingertips with their eyeballs. It was crazy.
Right.
Why would they do that?
They're always doing that kind of stuff.
Just so they could cry to the ref and be like, "Oh, he eye poked me again."
Right. And then, and it's just further tarnishment of such a legend's name, and I hate it.
Legend.
And what I really always just appreciated about him was how he took time for the kids,
Yeah.
Made sure he was a model for them. But anyway, that's enough about the legend, Jon Jones. We have also discussed our Conor McGregor friend, who if you see him in a bar and you're tired of your job, dude, and you think you can survive getting punched in the face by him a couple times, and hold on, eating the pavement afterwards, because that's the part that might really fuck you up.
Hold on.
First, you can plan it. You can plan this.
Connor can afford some good lawyers, I bet. And besides that, like, he's fucking mad connected with the Irish mob. Like, he's a tough dude to go after.
But what I'm saying is you get him to punch you, and then you end up with $1 million in the courtroom.
You get punched on camera, that's pretty good evidence.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, if you happen to see him at a bar / club, you know, and you want to risk it for the biscuit, just make sure your boy catches you after you get knocked the fuck out. Because it's the extra damage of you landing on the pavement that will really fuck you up. And then it won't be worth the money because you'll be fucked.
Yeah, exactly. You'll be
that's how you should handle that. Really, maybe don't go get punched by an ex-UFC legend known for his punch.
Yeah.
Maybe just don't do that. Maybe don't talk shit to him in a bar.
Yeah, I don't think we should recommend that.
We don't recommend that here at Sports Fight Company. But if you were going to do it and you're that desperate, make sure you have a spotter. You know? But that actually is a great time for us to bring up our non-charity charity of Sports by Compian, which, as you can see here, is DBA, which is Do Not Be Next Foundation, which is what it sounds like, Chris. It is Do Not Be the Next to, you know, Off Yourself Foundation here in Rockton, Illinois. Our very own beloved Paul Gents and Richard Foster, Ravens legends, are the ones who sponsor and have created this foundation, and they've had it for a couple years now. They are a proud non-charity charity of Sports by Compian. As you can see, we do. Oh, am I still there? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, you can hear me. You can't see me. As you can see, I did buy a hat to support the foundation because we believe you shouldn't be next. So, yeah, talk to somebody, dude. If you're feeling down, don't be next. Okay. Because that's not the answer either. Don't get punched. Don't go get punched by Conor McGregor. Don't be next. Just smoke some weed. Go hang out with your boys.
Maybe get a dog. I'm trying to get.
Yeah. Get a dog. Get a dog. Get a cat. Go run. It's summertime. No, don't go run in the summer. Oh my God, what am I saying? I almost died yesterday at practice, Chris, from dehydration. So make sure you're drinking water out there, Sports by Compian fans. Yeah. And like not only water, but get electrolytes and salt in there because otherwise you will die this summer. And don't be one of those people. Heat apparently kills more people than any other type of like storm and shit.
Yeah. You know what's interesting is back in the day, like, you know, some communities that didn't have access to like running water, they would just brew all their water into beer and they would just drink beer all the time because the regular water wasn't safe.
Right. No, I do know that. That's something to think about as well. Should we just be drinking beer all the time? Is that what we're saying?
Keep in mind, you know, you don't ever have to, you can just exist on beer. You don't really need water. No, I'm kidding. That's false. No, you do need water. Drink lots of it.
Add the salts. Get the salts in there too. Don't be like Jon Jones. All of what we were talking about is hypothetical, but there is a very good chance, Christopher, that Jon Jones was involved in all of this mayhem, and he was the orchestrator of the chaos. And what we want to say about that is when you have your lady friend over
with a chick other than his wife,
when you're over there shrooming with a chick other than your wife, and she shits herself, presumably, send her away in an Uber. Do not drive her anywhere else. Send her away. That's a shot. That's a shot.
What about just lending her a pair of sweatpants? How about that?
You know, maybe if you have some ideas for the evening, the whole evening might be spoiled at that point. At which point, whatever, send her. Yeah, I don't think you should Winnie Pooh it. Tell me don't Winnie the Pooh it.
Tell me he doesn't have a shower and sweatpants in his house. Like,
yeah. Maybe do that and then send her on the way. But either way, sending a very drunk girl, Winnie the Pooh in your car, and then you try to drive her.
Trip. It happens.
Yeah, but don't try to drive.
Drive
Winnie the Pooh up girl to some other place.
Dude, it got him in so much fucking trouble.
He might be in a lot of trouble, you know, because once again, allegedly, but it seems probable for Mr. Jones.
Either way, it'll be annoying and expensive for him to get out of it.
For sure. But that is some solid advice we gave out of these last, I don't know, 5 minutes or so, Sports by Copy fans.
We really are like just sage advice people.
We really kind of are. Like, if you need advice for like a lot of things in life, I would come to the Sports by Copy.
We're like the wise men, like the 2 wise men.
Yeah, we really kind of are. And of course, you're like the 3 wise
for that world.
You are welcome for that.
We love you. We're here to hook you up.
The Copy Bros just hooking you up with sage wisdom.
That's right.
We do it for you. We do it for you. Anyways, Sports by Copy fans, thank you for tuning in. Thank you to Chris to bringing us this information about Fight Night and, of course, what the bad boys are up to. Bad boys. But they really need to get some new bad boys in the UFC, all right? We need some new guys to start breaking some laws, get into some trouble. Sean O'Malley, go do some cool shit, dude.
Well, I mean, as far as good guys, you got Dustin Poirier about to retire. That'll be fun. You got Ela Topuria and whatchamacallit, Du Bronx, Charles Oliveira. They're gonna fight. That should be a great one. So there are some good dudes. It's just, the world loves focusing more on the negativity. It's so much more interesting.
Yeah. Of course. That's what I'm saying. They need a couple more bad boys just to bring in the general eyeballs in general.
Right. Yeah, more bad boys would be fine too. Yep.
Keep it interesting. Go crash your car or something, dude.
Yeah, no, I don't know if Patty's really going to be a bad boy, but he's going to be a great shit talker.
Good. Well, we need some shit talkers too.
Yeah, we could use some shit talkers.
Anyway, Sports by Copy fans, thank you so much for supporting the channel, liking and subscribing, all that kind of good shizzes. We're out of here.